Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Bottom left hand corner we got Streamline starting as the red Protoss. Bottom right hand corner we got Dentarg starting as the gray Protoss. I really like that industrial gray on Dentarg. Looks good. This is on Knockout. So PvP, it can be pretty interesting, mostly because Dragoons tend not to... general assaults can be blunted as a result of this inverted ramp. Also, they did a really bad job with their signage here. Tracy's Guns really didn't get their advertising in, at least not valid. Like, who pays for this just doesn't end up facing the audience. That actually, map makers, and if they ever got a hint of my commentary, you could do that, map makers. You could throw in like a hot 6 on like some of these billboards or whatnot for a map. I don't think Blizzard can do anything about it at this stage. Would they even notice? Would they even notice? And then it would be there forever. We'll talk about solid advertising. Anyway. Dentarg took game 1 against Streamline. Streamline, honestly, I feel like just missed some macro as far as I could tell in the space of it. Also, as a side funsy bit of the opening commentary, I'm curious what people utilize this commentary for. Is it just enjoyment of the game, lunch break, whatever? How many people are using this to fall asleep, I guess is my question with my voice. Because I am curious... and there's a follow-up question now, the secondary question in the midst of this, is if I were to just swap this to relaxing fall asleep ASMR or whatever stuff, would that be a 90 degree? So there's 180 going the opposite direction. That wouldn't be 180ing, right? Like a 40 degree? What degree split would that be? Anyway, 2-gate opener here now for Dentarg. Streamline also opting for 2-gate. This is very reminiscent of game 1, but from opposite kind of corner spawns, and it looks like it's going to be Zealot heavy both directions. And again, both guys going for the 2-gate while playing a little bit stricter close to their base. I am very interested, because usually you will see the pylon closer again to the ramp to provide a little bit faster exit for your Zealots rather than closer to your spawn. Like, this is a little bit more typical from Streamline, but even then it's a little bit further up more typically. I'm curious what it is about these maps, or has something shifted? Maybe it's just these two players in particular like playing a little bit lighter. Anyway, the Zealot's going to hold the ramp momentarily for both players as they once again have the probe exchange, and we have a lack of information across the board. It looks like neither player going to end up with the advantage in that regard. Streamline maybe slightly ahead just because of probe move out timing, so might end up at Dentarg's base a little bit more rapidly. Dentarg moving out his Zealot already is just presuming. Okay, so he's got the hat game a little bit earlier, so moving his Zealots across the map a little bit more rapidly. We do have an assimilator drop once again just after 3 Zealots for Streamline. Is this going to be a repeat of game 1? Have I already cast this game? This is starting to feel like a very similar game. Very, very similar game. Probe, but I don't think I've casted this one. I almost want to stop it and like recheck, but this is looking identical to the previous match. Streamline grouping up with the 3 Zealots. We got a probe alongside this time for Dentarg, and all 3 Zealots going to come alongside. Is he cute? It looks like we have it a probe on probe multi. I actually have to rewind. Remind me to rewind to 3:30, someone in chat, because that was a dual kill. 2 probes annihilating each other. We do have an assimilator this time from Dentarg after 3, but able to bully his way in. Probe is actually removing the minerals to make it easier to scout after this. 1 Zealot has gone down, so small advantage there, but now we're gonna have delayed mining time. And a probe did get wiped out. Some nice sniping of the Zealots got on the other side of the probes from Streamline Zealots. And so they're getting some bonus kills. Wow. I don't know if I want to call that bad luck, bad probe droning, or probe drilling, there's the right word, or what. Dentarg recycling. He has not moved his weakened Zealot to the rear of the attack force right this second, but they're going to go for another dive. Finally, the Dragoons are in place, but this is a lot of economic damage. Okay, probes there getting a much better drill for Streamline, but now he's going to be down 3, almost 4 workers here. But at the end of it, and that was definitely worth the exchange, the more damage you can do early the better. And he's not really going to have any form of superior army to boot on the follow-up. And Dentarg's also going to end up with faster range to finish. So Dentarg, at the end of it, just in a much, much better position, although might have frittered it away slightly with a slight supply block only ever so slight. He's still 3 workers ahead, but might have even been able to maintain that further with a pylon at proper timing. Gonna go ahead and drop a robotics near that natural expansion just in case. Robotics dropping for Streamline. Man, these guys are really playing something about these two. Play very, very similar games. Streamline starting to migrate out of probe, wants to see whether Dentarg, after the initial victories, is thinking about an expansion or not. I do wonder at what stage is it better to actually surface the entirety of your Dragoon force towards the front to catch some of this versus leaving just 2 Dragoons back. Able to get the snipe, and I don't think Streamline got any of that information actually, because he was in the gap here. So he wasn't able to sneak his way. And keep in mind, this is a shallow area, so it's low ground to high ground. Dentarg might actually want to make sure he moves out of that, because this could be a disaster. Yeah, starting to move out of it now. He is going to go observatory in the space of this. Range not yet finished. It looks like Streamline thinking the same. So is he going to drop that next? It does get that nexus down a little bit more rapidly in the midst of this. But Dentarg moving out, and it's honestly not a huge amount both directions. Dentarg taking some pot shots at Dragoons on the distance. If he just stays behind that line, might be able to get some advantageous action done. It's kind of, it is interesting for harassment once range is finished, because anything that's too far forward you can attack, and if they draw back into the low ground, then you have the low ground to high ground attack option. I really hadn't considered that. Yeah, so Dentarg trying to push that, gets a zealot for free, second zealot for free, and is working on that third zealot. And also on the front, all of a sudden, it's 5 Dragoons versus 7, although the 2 additional Dragoons should spawn momentarily. Zealot trying to fan out, and Dentarg, yeah, continuing to get some bonus. Dentarg really bullying it, canceling the Nexus now, and drawing to the north. Dentarg overstepping a little bit with the Dragoon. He just should occupy the low ground. He's got the win, occupy the low ground, and deny that natural expansion for as much time as possible. Now that should be the ticket. Although just going to escape now that he feels like he's... Wow, not even going to contest it. I guess not wanting to contest it maybe because of the retreat point, maybe because of the difficulty reinforcing. In the meantime, 4 gateways now up and a robotic support bay. So Streamline going for it. We've got a 3rd gateway dropped here for Dentarg, and likely a 4th gateway shortly after. He's got his own support bay up, is already building a Reaver, and that natural expansion is up. So Streamline is walking into this in a situation where, so keep in mind, with 4 gateways, he can produce the shuttle, the robotics, get 2 Reavers out, and then 4 gateways is effectively max production off a single base. That's about as much as you can kind of pump out. The Observer is going to be able to make its way forward. It's going to get sniped fairly rapidly. And it doesn't even get eyes on the Nexus, just knows that the only information that was gleaned there from Streamline was that there's a lot of Dragoons out here on the front, but also secondarily that there is an Observer out in the field, so DTs would not have been valuable. Is he going to think twice about it now? 4 gateways up for Dentarg, dropping a 5th gateway, and the Observer going to make its way across. This has got to make Streamline's heart sink, though. Seeing 6 gateways now off the 2 bases, which Dentarg can afford at the 4-to-1 probe count. He's just going to effectively be playing from a deficit and attacking into a very difficult trench from this stage forward. 9 o'clock pylon, just in case Streamline was thinking about sneaking a base from here. Maybe a suicide shuttle with that Reaver could be the difference, and Streamline needs to go now, because the longer he waits, that's more time for these gateways to start filling in and supplying troops. Dentarg picking off that Observer, so he's got 2 Reavers on the low ground. He doesn't have shuttle support, so that's at least a little bit in Streamline's favor, but Streamline is going to need some miracle shots, and he's literally going to be fighting uphill to try to make this happen. This is going to be rough. 6 gateways, good macro cycle. Citadel of Adun also planted. A pylon at that 3 o'clock base is going to spot these units making the way across. We have additional we have pylons that will provide some spotting for that shuttle. Shuttle speed is also going to finish for Dentarg, but he doesn't have a shuttle out just yet. Are we going to see some units funneled this direction? That's the only thing I can think of here for Streamline, because if he just goes for an attack on the front, could be a disaster. Ooh, get some free shots right there. The Reavers dropping right back out. But again, yeah, Streamline has to go into the gutter. Big shot of the Reaver though, but you can, oh, and that just lines them up for Dentarg's Reavers as well, taking massive amounts of splash as they're engaging into this. Still, Streamline has a surprising amount of Dragoons. I thought that, I guess you got to deduct 20 supply here, but it's really not making a difference. We got, keep in mind, on reinforcement, Dentarg is going to be producing 6 Dragoons. So while this looks somewhat scary, although not much on the follow-up, 6 Dragoons flood out in the form of reinforcements pretty rapidly. Shuttle and Reaver going to go ahead and try to pull back, and now that should be GG from Streamline. He's only got that Reaver and that Shuttle left. He's got no natural expansion. He's going 4 gateway production versus 6. Looks like he's going to try to limp this Shuttle in to try to get a shot on the probes, because that would be this would be the miracle scenarios if he just kills every probe right here. Unfortunately, targeted the Dragoons first, and so now is going to end up losing that Shuttle and that Reaver. There's the GG. I just wanted to push in to see what he could do. So Dentarg going to take that win convincingly. I think both these guys are still in the bracket moving forward. This is just for tiebreaker options. Dentarg will end up with the higher seed. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.